So I'm making this video just because I couldn't find anything on it when I was trying to fight with my employer or whatever you want to call it. I'm currently trying to enlist into the Navy again. And my employer was giving me a hard time about taking time off without using vacation, or if they had too many people already had requested the day off. So they were giving me a hard time. And honestly, none of that matters. When you're trying to enlist into the military, whether you're going to MEPS or to see a recruiter, you have protections under USERRA, USERRA. Everybody knows the normal protections, like if you're already in the military, your job is saved for you when you come home, time off, etc., etc. Most people and my employers, and even I had to contact ESGR, which is a agency of the DoD. They were unsure of it also. Literally all I did was Google search and chat GPT to figure out my protections and kind of guide myself through the law, as well as skimming through the actual law itself. So the beginning of the law, it kind of explains like who is protected, and I'm going to read what it says, and this is from a government website, a government website. I believe it's from the Department of Labor. So this is kind of explaining like who's protected. Uniform service includes active duty for training, inactive duty training such as drills, initial active duty training and funeral honors, duty performed by National Guard and Reserve members, as well as the period for which a person is absent from a position of employment for the purpose of an examination to determine fitness to perform any such duty. So that's the part that we need to remember, is the as well as the period for which a person is absent from a position of employment for the purpose of an examination, which would be like MEPS or even just talking to your recruiter, to determine fitness to perform duty. So to determine fitness, if you can, basically if you're able to serve. That's what conversations with your recruiter is. That's what MEPS is. It's an examination. Plus all the tests like the ASVAB or PICAT, whatever you're doing. USERRA covers nearly all employees, including part-time and probationary employees. USERRA applies to virtually all U.S. employers, regardless of size. So size doesn't matter. I know that some people have said that smaller companies with like maybe 2 or 3 employees are exempt, but from this, clearly they're not. So again, I'm reading this word for word off the Department of Labor website. So there's another part where it basically explains that your employer has to give you the time off. They basically can't say no. I'm going to try to explain it easily. I'm not going to go into depth. I can give you the code. The code or the law, it's 38 USC, and the subsections are in the 4300s. I'll give you the subsections later. But one of the subsections is 4316D. Basically, you can take unpaid military leave if you want, and the company cannot force you to use your vacation or sick time. So if you want to save your vacation time or your sick time, you can. So they can't force you, and that's one of the things my employer tried to do, and I had to argue that with them, and luckily they gave me my time back. But yeah, you don't have to use it if you don't want to. I didn't want to use it because I was saving up for vacations. Let me see. I'm trying to find information, so if I take long, that's why. I have screenshots because I had to find all this on my own. When I was doing it, I couldn't find any videos that helped me. All the videos that I did have were like lawyers basically explaining it in the lawyer way. So here's another one. 38 USC subsection 4311A says an employer may not deny initial employment, re-employment. Actually, none of that really matters. I mean, it does if you do serve. Well, I'll read it anyway. They cannot deny initial employment, re-employment, retention in employment, promotion, or any benefit of employment because of an individual's membership, application for membership, so it does matter, service, or obligation for service in the uniformed service. Application for membership, and this is in the, again, you'll find it in the 4300s. I think it's subsection 4313, where it kind of gives the definitions. So their definition for application for membership is people trying to enlist. And so this is what covers you or me as civilians in the process to join. So, as I said earlier, I had also kind of gotten in a little argument with ESGR. I forget what it stands for. I think it's Employment Services for the Guard and Reserve. It's kind of like your first step before you make a complaint to the labor board or whatever it is. So me and him kind of got into it. He's an ombudsman. He was a cool guy. His name was Harold. He served in the Marines. Cool dude, just didn't really understand this law because it's fairly new, and like I said, most people understand the old stuff. So me and him kind of got into a little argument. He ended up apologizing and realized I was correct, especially after he spoke to their legal team. But what I had sent him when we argued, and he tried telling me I was wrong. Again, this is me using ChatGPT. So ChatGPT told me to send him this, which is under Uniformed Services Employment and Re-employment Rights Act, 38 USC, subsection 4311A and subsection 4303(13). Employers are prohibited from denying any benefit of employment or taking adverse action based on an individual's application for membership. In the Uniformed Services, the statute also defines service in the Uniformed Services to include absences for the purpose of an examination to determine fitness for service. Accordingly, my absence for MEPS as part of the enlistment and qualification process falls within protected activity under USERRA. So, because I'm dumb and I didn't put all my information together to read. Basically, to make it easy, your employer cannot deny you time off to go to MEPS or to see your recruiter. They cannot give you a hard time about it. The days that you miss, they cannot make you make up the work or the hours. So like, let's say you take off any random day during the week, let's just say a Tuesday, and they want you to work Saturday to make up for it. They can't do that. So they are required by law to basically act as if you were there. So whatever work is missed, that's on them. I encourage everybody to kind of even just skim through the law. There's a section that also explains that it's the employer's responsibility to basically make sure that your job is covered. So like I run a delivery route, and obviously if I'm not here, they're supposed to have a backup driver to kind of make up my day. But they didn't, and they weren't, so they were trying to get me to make up for it. Which honestly, normally, I don't mind. I don't mind the extra work, but there was more going on between me and the company that I work for. Well, kind of burning myself out. Where I felt like I was being lied to, so then this is when I decided to fight it. But they cannot force you to do work, so if you run a route, they can't tell you you have to go back and make up. That's on them. They can't hold it against you. So when it comes to like reviews and promotions, they can't use that against you and say, well, you were missing time off for military, so your route took a hit, which means your pay is going to take a hit or your promotion is going to take a hit. They cannot hold that against you. It is completely illegal. They can't force you to take vacation time. So like my company has a policy where if you're going to take time off, they want you to use your vacation. So like for example, I had to do jury duty and they forced me to take vacation time, which legally they're allowed to. When you look into that law also, it does explain that you don't have to, but if your company's policy requires you to, then you have to use the vacation time. But with USERRA basically, it's one of like the easiest laws out there to kind of read. It says it pretty straightforward. They cannot force you to use your vacation or sick time, and they cannot force you to make it up. It's the company's responsibility to make up the day that you missed. It's the company's responsibility to get whatever work that's needed to be done. The law was designed so that way we can use this time to have a smooth enlistment process without having to worry about any penalties or whatever issues you could think of. So that includes work. It is recommended in the law that we give our employer notice. So I've been trying to give them a week to 2 weeks. And even when you read it in the law, it's kind of more of a suggestion. It does also explain in there that you don't have to. That your employer has to give you the time off regardless. You don't have to give notice, but again, it's also recommended. So I've been giving my employer notices from my recruiter for the days that I'm going to be gone. Well, not necessarily giving them. My recruiter sends them to me, and I don't print them out, so I just show them the screenshot my recruiter sent me. Yeah, so that's some of the information that I was having trouble looking for. So basically, when it comes to work and trying to enlist into the military, you're completely protected. You cannot be in trouble for it in any way, shape, or form. They can't harass you about it. They can't fire you for it. If they do, I would recommend you contact ESGR. Again, Employment Services for the Guard and Reserve. So they're kind of like the legal team, basically. The way it works is you contact them, you explain your situation. They'll send you a request for support. You fill that out. An ombudsman will call you. They called me pretty quick. They called me literally the next day. This all happened on a Friday, and the ombudsman called me Saturday morning. So they'll go out of their way to kind of look up the law. In my case, the guy kind of just more wanted to give his opinion, but he was still going to go and talk to the legal team. But he's an older guy, so he got upset and kind of, you know how older people are, they're stuck in their ways. But he was at least willing to go to the legal team. But once I explained to him the law, he started looking up himself and realized I was right, but still wanted to contact the legal team. So you'll call them, and then once they figure everything out, they'll contact you back again. They'll let you know whether or not you're protected, which you're going to be, as long as you're taking time off for military reasons. So to go see your recruiter or to go to MEPS. Not to go see your friends, not to go hang out with your family because you might leave. None of that. That's what your vacation time's for. So once the ombudsman confirms with you that you're correct, they're going to want the contact information of your employer or whoever's giving you a hard time. You'll give them that, and they'll contact your employer. And they'll basically let them know that, you know, under the law, you are protected, and They basically have to act as if you are there even though you're not there. Yeah. So, for those of you who were looking for information like this, there you go. Again, I recommend you look into it yourself. Skip through, do what I did, and use Google searches. Use ChatGPT. You might have to ask the question a couple times because sometimes I was getting like ChatGPT or even Google. Like I would do a simple Google search or a ChatGPT search, asking, "Am I protected under USERRA?" Sometimes it would say yes. Sometimes it would say no. So this is why I recommend that you also just read it yourself. It's a long read, but maybe not read the whole thing, but skim it. If not, you can always just contact ESGR. Just go onto their website. I think it's esgr.net or .com or one of those two. Or even just Google it, ESGR. And they'll help you. They'll help you out. They'll kind of lead you to where you need to be led. Some recruiters are cool. Some of them know the law and like what protections they have. Mine didn't. Mine didn't know it until I explained it to him. But definitely on your own, skim through it. Skim through it. Like I said, the subsections are in the 4300s. Use your Google, use your ChatGPT, whatever you're using. It really isn't that hard to understand. But thanks for watching.